Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll be sharing some huge news for Warcry as we take a look at some leaked images. You'll see some leaked images for the new Warcry box set and potentially a brand new Warcry game as well, so lots to see in the video. If you're not into spoiler videos, then I would say don't watch the rest of this video, but if you are, count to 3 and then we'll start looking at the pictures. Here we go, here's the first leaked image, and a massive thank you to Alex and Nick who got in touch to let me know that there were some pictures posted on Reddit. So I got in touch with the Reddit original poster and asked if I could use the images in the video. They kindly said no problem to use them, didn't want to be credited. So if you're watching, then thank you so much for letting me use the pictures and sharing these with everyone here on YouTube. This has got to be a glimpse into the next box set for Warcry, so we're really getting that centerpiece terrain that we were looking for. I know I really wanted something that represented this like crashed StarCraft, and so it's fantastic to get something like this. We really did need some ruins to go in amongst those awesome trees. And here we go, we can see it up close now, really looking great. Imagine playing with the Seraphon with these, it's going to be brilliant. And you can see the little bamboo platforms that can be connected to the little walkways that you've got in previous sets. And there's going to be much more terrain in this set, surely, not just one chunky piece in the middle. And here's another image where you can see the battlefield laid out a bit. So you can see the gnarly trees in the background, lots more platforms. So expect some more platforms and walkways to accompany this in the box set. We also got to see one of the warbands that could potentially be in this box set up close, and it's the Stormcast Eternals with some brand new models. It looks like we've got a Lord Castellan version at the top left, potentially, and then we've got maybe a Lord Relictor, I would say definitely a Lord Relictor in the middle at the top, and then 4 other fighters just with some different variations of weapons and blades, and I think these are looking really good. Here's what could be the Lord Castellan here, and is he in Thunderstrike armour? Potentially. Certainly looks like a Praetor to me, but just with the way they've used the words there, I'm wondering if that is a Lord Castellan. We can clearly see Relictor in the name here, so Lord Relictor, he's got the hammer, and he's not got a banner, which we've seen previously, so that's nice. This is definitely a nice version, and again, is this going to be Thunderstrike armour? Certainly looks a bit leaner than the other models we've seen, and it fits in with the other models in the picture here. Then we've got this guy with the great sword, really cool pose, is certainly going to fit in with the Vanquishers. Then another one with the Grand Hatcher or Grand Axe. So he's got the double-handed axe there. Certainly going to deal some wounds, I imagine. Put out a fair amount of damage. Maybe 3 attacks, dealing 3 to 6 damage perhaps. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Then we've got a Duelista, which is like double swords. So that sounds cool as a Duelista, actually. I think that's a really good name. But this is going to be another one maybe with more attacks. So maybe 4, even 5 attacks with this one. But probably dealing out a little bit less damage. But all of these are going to be strong, tough, and dealing a good amount of damage, as we see with all the Stormcast Eternals. And then finally we've got another Duelista. But this one looks like he's got a twin-tipped spear, which I really like. I think that's fantastic. Nice poses. One thing I did notice though, all the cloaks are going in the same direction. That's my only criticism, and something that really did stand out as soon as I saw them. With the exception of that Duelista down in the bottom middle, they do all look quite similar how they're stood. When you consider how dynamic the poses are for the Vigilor set, you get some really great poses. They all look completely different, and after playing them with the new rules of Warcry recently, I know they definitely work. So that's my only criticism with these. Maybe they could have been a bit more dynamic in the poses, but I really like the weapon options, especially the 2 Duelistas. They're fantastic, and it's a really good chance to get hold of another Relictor, and if they're in Thunderstrike armour, even better. If it is a Lord Relictor or a Lord Castellan, or even a Knight Castellan, if that is such a thing, then you're really going to get 2 heroes in this that you could use in Age of Sigmar 2. So this could be really good set to get if you like playing Warcry and Age of Sigmar and you like Stormcast Eternals. Now you might be wondering, who are they going up against? Let's find out. It's the Flesh Eater Courts. I'm sure you noticed that already from the previous pictures. But here we go. Here's one of them. This has got potential to be one of the leaders. They've certainly got a bit more in the cloak department going on here and what looks like a spear of some kind. Let's zoom in a bit closer so we can have a proper look. And yeah, I think this one certainly looks like a leader, maybe a wizard of some kind as well. And just standing on that skeleton underneath looks pretty cool. Then we've got another one here of the warband. This one's got a skull, maybe a mask, or is that the actual head? Maybe just wearing a skull, it looks like, over the face. It's really cool to have another warband that's going to be potentially fast. They look like they're going to be fast, comparing them with the slower, sturdier Stormcast. This could be a really good mix-up. Then we've got another one. Here's the third member of the warband that we're going to get to see. This reminds me a lot of that character from 300. And yeah, he's all hunched over, wearing a skull for a helmet there for a bit of protection and armour, and what looks like another rusty blade of some kind. And here's one more. Doesn't seem to have a weapon, so what's he going to be up to? He's certainly going to be getting in close and then just doing damage, maybe with just his hands. He must have a bone somewhere that he can bash them with. I guess we'll find out when we see the rules up close. And then here we've got the Stormcast Eternal and the twin swords there going up against him. And just in the background there was one other Flesh Eater Court model that we'll come back to. But here you can see them up against each other. And yeah, with no weapons, he certainly looks vulnerable, to say the least. Here's that other model, and you can see it going up against another Stormcast model. Now this looks quite camouflaged. I think it's a beast. It looks like that arm could just be like hanging off it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what this is exactly, whether it's a four-legged beast or if it's another model that's just wearing some kind of armour and fur robe, something like that. Not really sure. Let me know what you think this is. But I'm going to go. I mean, it almost looks like a baboon of some kind. Here's another image of what could be the Lord Castellant, and I'm definitely thinking this is going to be the Thunderstrike armour. Let's get in a bit closer. You can see all the symbols on there. And yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? I really like the Stormcast Eternal since I've been playing them in Age of Sigmar. So very cool to see these models in the final box set of this season's Warcry. Right, we're not done yet, because now we've got to look at what could be a new game, Warcry Crypt of Blood. And here we go. You recognise these pictures if you're a fan of Underworlds, or you've been picking up some of the Underworlds models to use in Warcry. But either way, here we can see everything that's going to be in this new Crypt of Blood, except for the models. We'll have a look at those in a moment. But you can see you've got the cards, you've got fighter cards, ability cards. You've got what is a mat to play on, like a folding up mat, but not a board, just the paper one. You've even got the tokens, and they all look like proper Warcry tokens, proper Warcry cards. We'll zoom in closer and have a better look at those in a second. And here we go. Here are the first set. And this is looking great. This is the proper rules by the look of it for Warcry. So this isn't a different version of the game. This is actually Warcry, but in a smaller box with like less terrain. There is some terrain, which we'll see again in a moment, but nothing like we've seen in the previous box sets. But this could be a kind of Warcry light version, just to get you in, playing with the proper official Warcry rules, maybe just stripped down a little bit. So it's not like we saw in that previous box for Warcry, what, a year ago now? Do you remember it? It was called Bladeborn. I covered it on the channel. It wasn't Warcry. It was a different version, but looked very similar. The fighter cards looked similar. The board was a little bit like you would see with Underworlds. So it was a kind of mix of the two, and one of those games you would get places like Waterstones in the UK. So a game, more of a board game than a tabletop skirmish game, I think. As you can see with these fighter cards, and here's the Stormcast Eternal ones, these are the proper Warcry ones. It's going to be the Warcry game, but just on a cheaper, smaller version, so you can get playing it really quickly and easily. It's going to come in a smaller box, I guess, and like fewer miniatures to put together, so you haven't got an awful lot to do. You've only got 4 for each side, so that's going to be quick and easy as well. Hopefully it'll cross over to normal Warcry 2, although I'm not sure how that will work with points. We'll have to like add them up and go a bit deeper on this, I think. Each warband is going to come with the proper abilities card, so that's great. Even the leadership rune marks and all the others are the same. And then you've got the reaction on the other side, and the same goes for the Stormcast Eternal. You've got all that going on. They're a little bit different though, aren't they? The rune marks around the outside of the actual rune mark themselves. So is it going to be different? I think it's going to be the same game, but just a quicker version and cheaper way to get started playing it. I have no idea what this says, but if you pause the video now, I'll let it run for a few seconds here so you can pause it. And then if you can speak Spanish, you could read through and get a really good idea of what that says. We've got a couple of nice images of the models all laid out with the terrain, but first let's focus in on the terrain, and here's a few pictures from the book showing you close up exactly what's going to be included. You've got some walls and some fences there, what looks like some kind of tomb or coffin, and a statue. So not much, just a tiny bit, but again, this is going to be potentially in an A4 size box. Here's the layout of all the models and the terrain, and in the back you can see the mausoleum, which isn't going to be included in this, but is going to certainly work alongside it if you have it already. With such few pieces of terrain, we're certainly going to be missing a lot of the dynamic movement of Warcry, but as an introductory game, I think this has got some potential. Really looking forward to finding out more about it and when it can actually be released. The books we saw earlier have got the proper Warcry up-to-date logo on there, and I don't think we're going to see it in tonight's reveal because Warcry isn't on the selection they've given us. Age of Sigmar is, so technically it is Age of Sigmar, but usually they would put the Warcry symbol up, so we're not going to see it tonight. So this is a leak well ahead, and this is the second time in what, a week this has happened. Have they done it on purpose? A bit of guerrilla marketing? I don't know. But yeah, very interesting to get some shots like this released for 2 games for Warcry. There's a load of pictures. Again, thank you to the Reddit poster who sent me some more images as well after we spoke through Messenger. So that's really kind of them. And here you can see we're getting to see the names there, which we know from the Underworld set. It doesn't look like they've changed those much. And then we've got the map, which was printed in China, so they're doing the printer there on that, and it's going to be double-sided, so you'll open it up. This is much like you would have seen in the Mortal Realms magazine, so you've got the 2 double-sided mats to play on, and here's the selection of all the other gubbins you're going to get in there, a book, which doesn't look too big, hard to see there, what, 49 pages, 39, so we're going to get perhaps the basic rules, maybe a lot of the terrain rules will be left out. There's a different layout and format for sure. And the index shows us, yeah, it's not too many rules included. But some nice imagery. Welcome to Warcry. I know what that says. And another one of one of the war bands. So this is really exciting. Really cool to get some leaked footage. And I hope this video has been interesting and you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you like the best. Do you like the terrain or maybe some of the models? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And it shouldn't be too long, really, until we have to wait for this final box set for the season of Warcry. So this has got my interest. That big piece of terrain is what I was really hoping for. This is also pretty cool though, having a Warcry starter set, or almost, isn't it? Like a mini version to get playing, and hopefully this will be priced nicely to encourage people to give it a go, because it's still an awesome game. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it. If you did like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and I look forward to seeing you here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for helping me keep going with these daily videos. I really appreciate your support and can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to join the community and support the channel, there's a link down below. It'd be awesome to see you over on Patreon.